Welcome to For the Health of It with Stacey Chillemi. Stacey's mission is to help you achieve optimal health and wellness through diet, exercise, and positive motivation. Her skills and knowledge are amazing, having written 20 books and has been featured on many shows, including Dr. Oz. In short, she is just awesome. Go to www.thecompleteherbalguide.com for more about her. This live call-in podcast is designed for you, the listener, to call in and talk with Stacey to get the help that only she can provide. I'm your facilitator, Kevin McDonald, and I'm proud to present For the Health of It with Stacey Chillemi right now. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the opening that I was going to play for some reason isn't playing, and so that's how it works with when we are live on YouTube, which we are right now. And I hope that everybody is with us today and is looking forward to talking with Stacey Chillemi, who is right there. Stacey, how are you, ma'am?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm grand, thank you very much. By the way, this is live on YouTube, and if you would like to, you can give us a call and talk to Stacey about anything health-related, wellness-related that you would like to talk about. You can call this number, 206-408-1395, and you can talk to her directly. And while we're waiting for you to call, I'll talk to her directly. Have you thought, given the thought to what you'd like to call this little shindig that we're going to do?
Well, I came up with some ideas. I thought of, what I'm really about is health, healing, and wellness. So I thought maybe health, healing, and wellness with Stacey Chillemi. And then a few people, I had put it out on my Facebook page, and for the health of it was very popular. And I wanted to get what society thought and what my readers thought, and that was one of the things they came out with. But there was, if you go on the Stacey Chillemi page, you'll see a bunch of listed names out there, and then they could vote too and say what they think is a good name for the show, and maybe we can we'll go in the direction of our listeners.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome, because it's going to be a listener. I'm hoping that it's going to be a listener-driven show. Because what I would really like to be able to say is, hey, you're on the air with Stacey. And so we've got to have callers to do that. But that's what happens when you're starting out like this. It takes a while for people to figure it out. We're going to be here at noon on Mondays, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And we'll be here at noon on Monday, so you can give us a call and talk to Stacey about what it is that you would like help with in the area surrounding health and wellness. The type of work that you do, Stacey, and then we'll just kind of get right into it. The type of work that you do, how can you help someone who has a specific health issue or crisis or inflammation or diabetes, or how do you work with folks?
Well, you really, each individual has their own story to tell, and every person's life is different. So everything has to be, treated differently. A different person, you have to handle the situation differently according to how that person lives their life. I always say there's always a root of the cause, so to speak, where something always begins at the root cause that's causing the current problem today. So if we kind of go back into the past a little bit and see, what you're doing, from the past to now, and we maybe make a couple little changes in your lifestyle and in the way you think and feel and eat and act and the way you do things, it could actually change yourself mentally, spiritually, and physically. So it could do a lot for you, but just by making a couple of small changes in your lifestyle, things that you really didn't even think would be much of anything could actually be really a big something.
Like?
Well, if you know, like for me, I suffered all my life with a disorder, and I always I struggled with epilepsy and trying to get my seizures under control. And it wasn't until I actually started, going into changing my lifestyle, changing my sleeping patterns, changing the way I handle stress, changing the way I ate, changing, the way I handled life in general. When I started doing things differently and I incorporated vitamins and supplements into my life, and I started, living life a lot differently than I did in the past, my seizures got better. I got better as a person, and my life improved. Now, with people that have all different types of conditions and even stress, did you know that 90% of stress causes illnesses? Most illnesses are stress related, and conditions are stress related, stress driven. So, if we learn how to handle stress better in our life, it could actually help heal your health. Stress is one of the main root causes of a lot of conditions. So if we learn how to, take care of our stress, and we learn how to handle life in general, just, people, for me, I like to handle stress just by, in the morning, the best thing to do is to get your focus in gear. A lot of people like to meditate, and meditate seems to be a very good thing. If you talk to people who are into meditation, if they take 15 minutes of the day to meditate before they get out of bed and relax and focus on things, they tend to have a better day, and they tend to be able to think more clearly throughout the day. So little tweaks and changes in your life could actually do a lot for you.
It's interesting. I'm going to use my sister and myself as an example, because it's pretty unique what we have going on. My sister, who is 5 years older than me, and we are biologically, we're from the same parents. It's obvious because sadly we look alike. Poor thing. And but we have an inflammation condition. She's had back surgery. I've had back surgery. She's had both her hips replaced. I've had both my hips replaced. She's had neck surgery, arm surgery. I've had elbow surgery and shoulder surgery. So we've had a lot of stuff that's gone on, and my rheumatologist says that it is has to do with inflammation, and they don't really know how or why. Have you run across a condition like that, and do you have any ideas?
Well, when a person suffers a lot from inflammation, sometimes it could be you're eating it, the way you eat, the foods you input into your body are not agreeing with you, and your body can, develop like a retention to it. It's fighting it. It doesn't want it, so it becomes inflamed. That sometimes could be an issue. But turmeric is a great supplement. A lot of people use turmeric for inflammation. It helps a lot of people. A lot of people like it in tea. It's very popular. A lot of people drink turmeric tea, and they have a lot of success with it. Also, stretching, yoga is great when it comes to pain and inflammation. It not many people realize, but it actually it helps with the circulation of the blood flow. And so when you don't have to, sometimes people think yoga and they think in all these crazy poses and stretches. I can't do that. I can't stretch, but you could actually, just the slightest stretches could actually start getting the body going and getting your blood flow going, and it actually can help with inflammation as well. So, it's hard. A lot of times, doctors will see things and they don't know exactly what the root cause, what's causing it, and so they have a hard time, and some doctors give medicine, and sometimes what happens is the medicine causes a side effect, and then they have another symptom, and then they come back and I'm feeling this now, and and the doctor gives them another medication, and before you know it, they have a pharmacy of medication in their bathroom or kitchen, and they're taking a lot of medications, and they're still having the main cause, which was the inflammation.
Now, you said lifestyle change. So if as an example, see, I have a bottle of turmeric in my bathroom, and it's been sitting there for a little while. And so I suppose if I don't take it, it's not going to do me any good. Would that be your hypothesis?
I'd say so, yeah.
So I had the intention, but I just haven't done it yet. But but turmeric is really good for inflammation then.
Yes, it is. It is very good for inflammation.
Oh, that's awesome. Is there anything else that you can think of? Because it's like I take a leave, which is noxine, whatever that is, and other stuff, but it doesn't seem to help all that much.
Off the top of my head, there's, like I said, every situation is different, but I would say, check back and make a little diary, a food diary of what you're eating, the foods that you're eating, and find out, what, things that could maybe be causing, some inflammation in your body. I found that when I was eating regular, I'm not allergic to meat, but when I was eating meat that wasn't organic because of all the different things that they put in the meats nowadays, I was becoming inflamed. Every time I ate, I looked like I was 3 months pregnant. So, but when I started eating organic chicken, that didn't happen to me. So sometimes you have to sometimes, take a little time to go back into the morning, afternoon, night, keep a diet, for your weekly, foods that you intake. I know it's work and nobody likes to do work, but, sometimes if you want to feel better, you got to do it, and start seeing the things you eat and what might, there's some things that might cause it, and so forth, and the drinks that you're drinking, and start working that way, and work your way up.
So I suppose that beer is not very good for you. Would that be the case?
Well, we all need our little cheat days here and there,
I know, but don't you feel bad when you're like, I really would like to have a beer today, and then suddenly you're like, wait, yeah, but I'm not being very healthy. But a glass of wine. I've heard. Now, tell me if this is true. I've heard wine can be very therapeutic and very good for you.
It can, as long as you don't overdo it. But yeah, I'm all for it. Woo!
Well, you'll need to describe what overdoing is. Is overdoing when you're falling down after you've had too many, and that.
That would be one definition of it. Yes. Yeah. They usually maybe they say 2, 3 times a week. A glass daily. Something to that effect. But if you're drinking a half a bottle or a bottle of wine, and it's only in a day's time, I would say just a little bit.
That's just no fun at all. So if somebody wants to get a hold of you to talk to you personally without getting on the radio and spilling the beans about their health problems, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, first they can email me. They can email me at Stacey Chillemi at staceychillemi.com, and I'll get back to them that way, and they can email me, and then we can go from there.
Awesome, awesome. By the way, if you're listening, if you want to give us a call, you can right now at 206-408 1395. What are your intentions? Let's talk about intentions a little bit, because you do talk about positive living and the intentions. What are your intentions for this podcast?
I really want to show people different ways and give them ideas on how they can improve their lives. Everybody has something in life. Everybody goes through everything, in life. We all have our journeys that we take, and we learn from our journeys. But sometimes, when you learn different tools and techniques and different strategies, and you incorporate them into your life, it sometimes could help situations. It could help you mentally, physically, and by just making little tweaks and changes. So I'd like to provide people with different options and different ideas that, if they can relate to certain issues and they're having, a little issue of their own, give them ideas of how they could do things a little bit differently, or what they could add on to their life, that might actually improve their life and improve, the way they're living.
Which would be, would think most people are really excited about living a little bit better, but sometimes that's really not the case, is it?
No, a lot of people, I find, they want to feel better, but they don't want to make the changes because change is hard. No, and a lot of people don't like change. We get stuck in routines. A lot of people like their daily routines. You get up in the morning, you do this, then you do this, and you have this whole thing in your head, and you do it every day, and you come like a robot. And so then when you have to add changes into your life, you're like, whoa, I can't do this. No, 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 it's too much for me, or it's like, I just, I just can't see it happening, and people don't, sometimes a lot of people they want the results, but sometimes getting there could be a lot of work and could be very stressful itself. But if you want to feel better, you shouldn't always have to wait till you hit rock bottom. Try to, when you start seeing things in your life that aren't well, tackle it right then and there and start making some changes, and reach out to people who know the answers and have ideas and people that can help you, or guide you, and get the help before a problem becomes too big to solve.
You were talking about organic chicken earlier, and before I go too far, I want to make it clear that I don't think you probably ever met a chicken salesman before.
No, I haven't.
So one of these days on one of these podcasts, I want to explain, because I worked for a company called Simmons out of Arkansas for 6 years, and I was a salesperson for them. And I want to explain how the chicken industry actually works. The vertically integrated chicken industry that is not based on holistic practices. It might stop people from eating chicken after a while.
Oh, it will. Trust me. I had a author, and she wrote a book about the meat industry, and her book was called Vegan or Vegetarian, and but she was talking more about leaving the life of meat and going into a life of veganism, or going into a life of being a vegetarian and just eating on a healthier standpoint. And but she goes into in her first part of her book, she goes into what they actually do in the chicken industry and what they do to the cows and the chickens. And once you read her book, a lot of times you look at a chicken, you can never look at them the same way again. It's just it's pretty bad.
It is. They have a whole system, and the whole system is designed around survivability. Because the little chicks that are born, they only get the farmer only gets paid when they are brought to maturity. And so in order to get them to maturity, they have to make sure that the flock is healthy. And they do that with antibiotics, and they do that with different drugs to keep everybody safe and happy. So, but one of these days we'll have to get into all of that. So my next question is, I was married for 24 years. My wife used to make, my ex-wife now used to take a roast and dice it up and made beef jerky. Well, and which was really good, and she really enjoyed it. Now she became a vegetarian when she met her current husband, and now she's a vegan. What's the difference between a vegetarian and a vegan?
Well, vegetarians, they eat more on the green, the more plant side. They stay away from the meats, and they stay away from the chicken and all that stuff. And sorry about that.
That's all right. It's just the president.
And so they focus more on the green aspect, and vegans are more stern. They have more stricter guidelines, and they're a lot more they have a specific way of eating. You'll find some vegetarians too that will eat, they still, some of them do eat they eat fish. They're mostly vegetarian, but they kind of do a little bit of fish and this and that. But you'll find, for the most part, you'll find the vegans have a much sterner way and much more stricter guidelines. If you go to that book, that Vegans or Vegetarians, she goes really in depth, because there's a lot of things that you don't know about vegans versus vegetarians. It's very different from one another. You would think a lot of people think they're the same thing, but it's a great book. And it's if you want to be more stricter with yourself and have more, have yourself on a really healthy set of living things, you go more on the vegan side. But with vegetarians, they're more for the plants. They eat, they eat healthy. They have a wider range of different things. But if anyone would like to share some light on that, come in and call and, tell us if you're a vegan or vegetarian. I'd love to hear about the way you live and the things you eat and so forth.
Yeah, exactly. Now I've been told that, of course, this was a meat eater that told me this, but that the vegan diet is not. It's difficult to get everything that you need out of the vegan diet. Is that been your experience, or can you make
That's
it
what
work?
that's what I've told. I've been told. I don't know. I'm not a vegan or a vegetarian. I try to limit myself on meat, and I eat. I do eat poultry and I do eat fish, and so I don't know all the rules and regulations when it comes to being a vegan. And I have several friends and family members that are vegetarians, and when we cook, we always cook for a little side dish for them, so they have something to eat, because a lot of things, you throw in meat and you throw in a lot of things. So I don't know all the different things, and so I don't want to misgiven the information, but I'd love to hear what other people have to say that might be a vegan or might be a vegetarian, and they can shed some light on the matter as well.
What is tofu made out of?
Tofu. I don't know all the ingredients of tofu. I can't help with that one.
Well, that's good because
Not my expertise.
well, it's because my ex-wife at Thanksgiving would make a tofu turkey. Can you imagine a tofu turkey?
I'd love to
Um,
see the recipe.
that would truly be interesting. That would be something. So in your world, you've been doing this and you've written. What project are you working on now? What are you writing another book or participating in one now?
No, right now I've written over 20 books in the course of my years in this industry. I right now I'm focusing more on speaking events and helping people with improving their way of living through different ways of changing their lifestyle and different ways of thinking. I'm a big person on positive thinking. I'm very big on trying to help and motivate people, inspire them to reach their goals. And I'm very big on doing finding ways to heal the body through food and vitamins and supplements. And these are things that I like to focus on, that I spend a lot of time doing. And there's lots of ways to heal the body naturally. And for you need that you always, I am very big in the medical industry. I thank God that we have such a great medical industry like we do today, and I always tell people, before you start changing, making major changes in your life, you should always talk to your doctor, because you have to make sure, like a lot of people take medications and they don't realize that a lot of supplements are just as strong as medication. And in the pharmaceuticals, a lot of times they'll put supplements in some of their medications, because it's just as strong and it does a great job doing what it does. So, people have to be careful, because a lot of different medications, like for high blood pressure, high cholesterol, epilepsy, depression, they take very strong medications, and they could actually coincide and collide with certain supplements, and have people could have issues and have problems. So if you're going to want to change your life and want to take supplements and, try different things, always, speak to your doctor first and make sure it's okay, because you don't want anything bad to happen.
Now I heard this, and I want your opinion, and that is that I've been told that while you're in medical school, they don't spend a great deal of time talking about nutrition and natural supplementation. That it's very kind of almost like an afterthought. Is that true? Is that changing? Are they getting more in tune with natural medicine?
Well, I've never been to medical school, so I don't know exactly what they teach in medical school, but they are not, if you speak to a lot of doctors, a lot of doctors are not very big on the natural healing or holistic or supplement idea. A lot of doctors, don't know a lot about it and don't like to kind of gear. Um, gear their patients towards that area. But there are a lot of, you do see a lot of change in nowadays. People are becoming more aware of how powerful and how effective supplements are. They're realizing that the foods that we put in our body, do have a huge impact on how we feel. I have a friend of mine who she just went to a functional doctor, and they deal in, eating right and changing their diet and food for medicine. And as soon as she went there, they had her on a whole different regimen and a whole different eating schedule, and they took her off a lot of foods. They told, you can't have that anymore, you can't have that anymore. And so she started following this diet, and she said that she's lost over 15 pounds already, and it's only been a couple of weeks. She's dropped 2 sizes, and she's feeling great, she said. And she said that she's not feeling tired anymore. She's not getting a lot of the symptoms that she was complaining to the doctor she had. A lot of the things that were happening are starting to decrease, and she's feeling a lot better. So it shows you how sugar is a killer. Sugar, a lot of people, foods are packed with sugars, they're packed with preservatives, they're packed with artificial sweeteners. All these things do bad to the body. The body can't recognize these things. They don't know what it is, and they store it in your body, and it just builds up. And as it builds up, it's making the organs work harder, and it's making the body work harder. And then you start seeing the body stress. You see those cortisol levels getting high, and then you start seeing conditions start to pop up here and there. And and that's where all the problems begin. So for people, I always say, when you're buying food, just check the ingredients on the back, before you buy something. Maybe you can go, they always have nowadays, especially because they're realizing, how people are becoming nutritiously conscious. They're starting to make different alternatives. This food is similar to this, and it doesn't have this, and maybe, going and reaching out to buy those alternatives and trying them and give them a try. I bought it was a veggie burger for the family, and everyone was like, oh, they all tried it, and they couldn't taste the vegetables in the
Mhm.
hamburger, and it tasted like a regular hamburger to them. They said it was the greatest thing. And so you don't know until you try. So give things a try. It can't harm you.
One of these days, can we do a complete podcast on reading the ingredient label?
Sure, I'd love to do that, but the best way to do it is, if you can't pronounce the word, it's not good for you.
That's a real simple explanation, but
It is.
a lot of people don't understand that when you're reading the label, the number one ingredient is what it's mostly made out of. And
Yes.
if it's a something that you can't pronounce, you probably should put it down.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, and most of that, so it would be great to learn that, because there are things in our food that we just don't know that they're there. As an example, if you say, if it says on the package 100% beef patty, it can be made from anything that comes out of a cow.
That's true. Yes.
Which it can be internal organs, it can be heart meat, it could be. I used to work for a restaurant chain that used to buy cheap hamburger because they used a lot of it, and it was 80% heart meat.
Ugh. Okay.
But that particular restaurant's no longer in business, by the way. But that's, a lot of people are not aware of what things are, how things are labeled, and how misleading some of the labels can be.
Yes, you don't realize it. And you always should check the sodium level in ingredients, and check the sugar levels, because, when you keep putting sodium into your body, this is how high blood pressure starts, how heart problems start, problems occur, so, it's always, those are, and key things too, is to focus on how much sugar and how much sodium this product has.
The other one that always gets me is, I went to the store. Did you ever have a craving for like a chicken pot pie?
I
Something
used
like
to like those as a kid, actually.
that. So did
My
I.
mom used to get them and bring them home. I used to love them.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
she
did
used to
I.
make them too. She used to make them fresh too.
Well, yeah. Now that you may mention that, we did. My mom did too. After Thanksgiving, she would make chicken pot pie and do that. But if you look at the label of, like, I won't name the brand, but it's a very popular brand, and they're very, very good. If you look at the label, and it says like 650 calories. That's for half. And
Oh, they do that all the time. Yes.
so they have, it's got two servings, and each serving has 670 calories, which means if you sit down and eat that thing, which
Mm-hmm.
was a serving for, it really was a serving for one. Uh,
Right.
you're that's half your daily allowance of what you should be eating, more than half of what you should be eating.
Oh, most
Yeah,
definitely. But they do that with all foods,
yeah,
all foods.
they
You
do.
don't realize it though. There's so many times I went to buy something, even popcorn, some of the buttered popcorn, it will say, X amount of calories. And then you look and it's like, for a handful, and meanwhile it's like, the amount. And then you really realize too, Weight Watchers put you in good check with portion size. They're very good at teaching you portions, and they have plates too, where when people are first coming in, they have plates that you can purchase online, and you can actually learn portion size, because that's a thing that people always mix up too. People don't realize even when they're cooking, what a true portion is, and we tend to eat more than one portion when we're eating, and that's why Americans suffer so much from being overweight, is because we just don't get our portions right, and we eat too much, and even when our body's saying, please, I'm full, stop, 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 we keep eating and we keep eating, and it doesn't stop.
Well, now, explain to me how that works, because as you're eating, your body has a reaction, and why is it that sometimes you'll be eating, and you don't feel like you're getting full, and then you overeat, and then you stop eating, and then you're really, really full? Is there a delay
There
between?
is a delay, yes.
How does that work?
Well, that's why they say it's good to eat slow, because your body is slowly digesting the food and you feel fuller. When you're eating so fast, your body's taking in this food, and it's not digesting and breaking down the foods the way it should. And then before you've opened up, again, you're just keep throwing that food in. If you were eating slower, your body would have, you would have digested and you would have felt full, and then your body, you would have said, oh, I don't need to eat up this. Instead, you're just keep filling your mouth and filling your mouth. It tastes so good, and you're just putting in way too much food. But if you eat slow and you're just enjoying the taste and digesting your food, you're going to start to feel that full feeling start to creep up on you, and then you're going to be able to say, I had enough for now, maybe later, and but when you're throwing it all in your mouth at once, your body just doesn't have time to break it down and digest it.
When I was a little kid, I would go out to lunch with my grandmother, and she would say, "Slow down, slow down. You're eating." I thought she meant slow my chewing down. I didn't realize that she was talking about don't eat so fast and don't eat all of it all at once. It'll be there in a minute or two when you get ready for another bite. So, do you have any recommendations on how much we should chew our food and how long it should take us to sit down and have a meal?
It's not the time. It's just being able to, you chew it, eat it, you take a deep breath, maybe have like a sip of water or two, maybe when you're talking to the people, if you have people at your table, and then going for the next bite and the next bite, but just taking time to actually finish chewing it, and to swallow, and to maybe take a bite and just to maybe sit there for a second or two and then go for the next bite. That gives you more than enough of time, and enjoy what's around you at the moment, and don't worry so much about cleaning that plate. Also, back in the day, a lot of people were always taught, don't leave anything on your plate,
Right, don't.
and
You can't get up on the table until that
yeah,
broccoli's gone, young man. I remember.
yes. And then they take that to heart when they get older, and when those mashed potatoes are there, I can't leave it over, I can't have to have the whole thing, and that's when the problems start to set in.
Now, when you're talking to people about a positive mindset and a positive way of living, how does that affect how they eat and how they view themselves. It's all interconnected, isn't it?
It is all interconnected. When you think about positive living and positive thinking, it all starts with loving yourself, being able to actually go inside yourself and look at yourself, accept yourself for who you are, love yourself for who you are. And then, and when you get, it's phases that you go through. And when you start thinking good things about yourself and you start thinking positively, your self-esteem goes up, and then your self-wealth worth goes up, and you start doing things to benefit you, and the more you do things to make yourself feel better and to make yourself good, and you notice those changes, you're going to start really liking who the person you are, and you're going to start actually feeling better, and people are going to notice it because they're going to see changes in your personality. They're going to see changes the way you view life. They're going to see changes the way you take care of yourself. People, it's all intertwined. It's all connected, and it's little changes, it doesn't happen overnight, but positive thinking and positive living is very important, and everybody needs to do it, in order to live a happy, healthy, and productive life, and that's what I really, shine for, is how to live a happy, healthy, and productive life, and positive thinking is one way. You have to think positively. And everything that happens in life, even the worst events, there's always something positive that you can pull from it. If you talk about the whole event, there's something in there that you learned from it. Maybe, you didn't want to have to learn it this way, but we all have positive things in everything, and we have to try to focus our best on those positive things and live life and live life to the fullest.
You've been through quite a little bit with your epilepsy and health challenges and stuff like that. How did you maintain a positive attitude? It would be real easy to say, "Oh man, this all sucks."
Yeah, I had to look at the good in life, because you know what, I realized that the past is the past. I can't change the past. Everything that's happened in the past, has occurred, and I just have to accept the past and realize that I can't change the past, but I can focus on now. And if I make changes now to better my life and to better myself, then I'm going to have a positive and a happy and productive future. And I didn't want to live life in depression. I didn't want to live life in just sad and not looking forward to the next day when I woke up and not wanting to roll out of bed. So I had to focus on the good things in life, and I looked around to see all the good things in life and all my friends and family members, and I just I said, and who do I want to be in 5 years? Who do I want to be in 10 years? And I started making goals for myself. Then I started doing things to attain those goals, and as I was helping myself, I was actually helping others, because I was motivating others and making others feel, wow, if she could do it, I could do it too. And and it started rolling out like that. And you really, like I said, you just have to start accepting yourself for who you are, and just start working on making changes now and working on the now, so you can actually make yourself an amazing future for yourself.
It's interesting. Several years ago, I was standing in front of a hotel with my brother and his girlfriend at the time, and it was right near a homeless camp. And this homeless gentleman came up and said, and he was a young guy. He couldn't have been more than 23, 24 years old. And he said, "Hey, do you got any change?" I said, "Well, no, but you could." And he said, "What? What do you mean?" And I said, "Well, why are you homeless?" And he said, "Well, and he started to go down the road of what happened to him and what happened in his past, and his mom was dysfunctional and his dad was dysfunctional. And I said, "Well, you have the opportunity to change that. And you could do that today." And he said, how do you change that?" And I said, "Well, by changing your attitude. You can change your attitude and decide that you're not going to be homeless anymore. You can make that change, and you can make it work. It takes time, and you have to, like you're saying, you have to be diligent about it. You have to have a goal. You have to work at it and stuff. And he left that conversation going, "Well, I don't know. I'll think about it, but I'm hopeful that he decided to make some changes in his life." How do you work with folks that are resistant to change?
You really can't change people when they don't want to change. You could always you can always throw the ideas at them, or when there's a time that you could actually squeeze it into a conversation. But then I find that people mostly get annoyed when you do that. If they're not asking for advice, then you shouldn't really give advice. When people are asking for advice, that means they're looking for help, they're looking for advice, they're looking for, ways to do things better. And when people don't want to change, you could talk to them till they're blue in the face. They are not going to change. They have to hit that bottom point where they say, you know what? I don't want to live like this anymore. I want something better for myself. And they have to change. So you really can't, if a person doesn't want to change, unfortunately, it's hard sometimes, because especially when you're a given person and you want to see, the better in the person, you can't unless they want it. They have to want it. And if they don't want it, then there's nothing you can do except throw it in, a conversation here and there, when you talk to them. But that's about it.
It's really is too bad. So
Yeah.
wanted to ask you, what's it like for you when you're a motivational speaker and you walk up onto the stage? What's going through your butterflies and your stomach and your head and all that stuff? And when you've got, I don't know, 50 people, 100 people, 150 people that are all waiting for you to speak, what's it like?
It's always nerve-wracking. You always get those butterflies in your stomach. But I look at everybody in the audience and I always think, well, you know what? If they were my friends, how would I speak with them? And I imagine those faces as my friends' faces. And I just walk on and I speak to them as I was speaking to my friends. And, it tends to, and then you kind of just flow into rhythm, and then you just keep moving on with it. And all those butterflies and the nervousness and everything else kind of goes away. And I just look at everybody as a friend, and how would I talk to them as my friend?
Some people say it's helpful to picture them in their underwear. Is that true?
I don't think I'd want to picture everybody in their underwear, to be honest with you.
That's why God invented clothing, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. And big leaves.
It was funny. There was a picture I saw of a group of people, and they were all in their 40s and 50s. And it was I don't know if you saw this. This was recently. They did a naked picture of a large group of people, and it was some sort of a protest that they were doing, and everybody had their back to you, and they took this picture of these several hundred people, and it was like, you really should put some clothes on.
Yeah. No, I didn't see that picture. I don't know if I'd want to.
It was kind of like, oh, okay, well, no, go away, put some clothes on. So, by the way, we're talking with Stacey Chillemi, and this is gonna be her show. We're gonna call it something. What are we gonna call it? We haven't figured that out yet.
Right now, I was thinking maybe, health, healing, and wellness with Stacey Chillemi, or we could just, I put on a bunch of names, and if people want to go on to Stacey Chillemi page and vote and give us ideas, or vote on the ones, I had about 10 or 15 of them listed. Let us hear your thoughts. What you think a great, health name for the show would be.
Exactly, because we all need, especially in this time of COVID. The COVID-20 is upon us, and it's hard to maintain a healthy weight when all you're doing is sitting around watching TV because you got to stay home or whatever. How do you teach to help people to not eat out of boredom?
You have to start doing things that you enjoy. If you're home, it's always, a lot of people tend to go on the computer nowadays. A lot of people are, socializing with people through the computer. A lot of people are redoing their houses. If you go to like a Home Depot, lots of things are sold out because people
I
are
know.
redoing things. I went in to purchase something for my house in one of the furniture stores, and they were backward on everything. They said because people people are ordering things like crazy. People are redoing their house. Some people love to cook, and they're making all these recipes. I've seen, friends of mine, they're cooking amazing things, because, they're home now and they have the time to do it, and, one person I know who makes cakes, and I've never seen so many cakes and cupcakes in my life, so it's like people are just doing things they enjoy. Exercising is great. If you could exercise at home, do yoga at home, meditate, stretches, even YouTube has awesome different trainers that come on, and they do training sessions, and you could do it with a YouTube person. Just do things that you enjoy. Take walks, go in your backyard, have a cup of coffee or tea, enjoy life. Don't limit yourself to that couch. Do things that you enjoy.
Now, do you spend a lot of time watching the news and stuff like that? Are you a newsy person?
Not really, and when this all started with COVID, I was watching it consistently. Then after a while, it started getting very depressing and overwhelming, I think. And I wasn't the only one that said that. A lot of people had said that too. You don't want to turn on the news and hear how many people are dying each day and how many people this is happening and that's happening. It's like it gets overwhelming. People they want to hear different things to make things better, but people don't want to really hear all the terrible things either. Now, we need to be aware. We need to know what's going on so we're aware of it. But, there's a point where when you turn on every single station, they're all repeating the same things and they're all saying the same things, and they're not giving you solutions. They're just telling you the facts and just leaving it there. Then it can be a bit dwelling on somebody. It can be stressful, and it can be very, depressing for somebody, especially, elder people who, relied on going to different, things. They had a lot of them, they have groups and sessions where they get together as groups and they do things consistently. Some people go golfing, some people have knitting day where all the women got together and they made things together, or do it yourself day or painting day, and these women look forward to these things. Now all the elders are stuck home, and they have nowhere to go, and then they're limited to see their family members. People are afraid to come over because they're afraid, they don't want to give them anything, and God forbid if they got it, they don't want anything to happen to them. So it's very depressing for the elders. It's very depressing for regular people too. There's nowhere to go. And how many how many pieces of food are you going to buy for the kitchen? How much food can you really have? There's really not that many places to go, and people are afraid. There are people who aren't afraid, but you really should be, afraid and take concern, because it is a contagious, virus, and we don't know all the facts yet. And you have to be careful because we don't know what the long-term effects are going to be either.
That's the scariest thing that I've heard, is that not only is it, well, first of all, us old folks, and I can talk about it because I are one, us old folks, if we get it and it's the end of us, well, we've had a good life. But there are kids, and there are 20-somethings and 30-somethings, and they don't know how it's going to affect their heart, how it's going to affect their lungs, what's all the long-term ramifications of this. And the sad thing is, we won't know for years,
right,
how it's going to affect somebody who gets it at 25 now, and then at 50, what happens to them.
right.
It's pretty scary. I assume you're an advocate of the mask. Would that be true? Good for you. Good for you. Well, in Washington State, where I am, there's a particular store that's got a mannequin, and they put the mannequin outside the front, put a mask on it, and said, "No mask, no enter."
Yeah.
It's that way virtually everywhere here, and they seem to be limiting the infection rate a little bit. But who knows? We're just going to have to wait for a vaccine and hope that it works and hope that people will take it, because 35%, this 35% of the country doesn't believe in taking vaccines.
Yeah. our country is not very big. A lot of people are not big on vaccines, but they're pushing it now, and and more people are apt to want to try vaccines. But you have to be very careful. There's so much ramifications and so many things. You can go back and forth. People get scared when the polio shot came. People took the polio shot and they got polio and this and that, and people are they get very afraid. But then certain vaccines done a certain way are necessary for the body as well. And you need those antibodies. So, there's a way to look at it. You can actually do more harm by not getting certain things.
I appreciate you, and I appreciate being you doing this with me. We're going to continue to do this, doggone it, because we will get calls at one point, and because you are very talented at what you do, and you know a lot, and you can be very helpful for folks. And so I'm looking forward to doing this with you every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern time, which would be noon Pacific time. And is there anything that you'd like to add or suggest or talk to anybody about before we wrap this one up?
You know what? If you have any ideas for the show, or if you have any topics you would love for us to cover, feel free to drop them on my page. I even have the Complete Herbal Guide page on Facebook. You can drop your comments over there, and let us know what you're thinking. Let us know your ideas. We want to help you. So let us know what you're thinking, what your comments are. Share it with your friends. And we're here to help you. So and if you want to come on and see the website's thecompleteherbalguide.com, and you can come on the website, and we have lots of different articles and different things to help people heal their body naturally and to improve their life, and different recipes, healthy recipes, and all different things that can make your life a better place. So feel free to drop by and check out what we have.
I can't always say that the person I'm talking to really has a heart of gold and is genuinely interested in bettering mankind and womankind. And I think that you are that person. And so I applaud you, and anything that I can do to support you. And that's why I want to do this with you. Hopefully we'll gain an audience and it'll be great fun.
I hope so. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we're going to get the word out there. At least I've got the technology fixed so that we can do whatever we want to do. So next Monday we'll have a couple of callers, I'm pretty sure. So we'll arrange it if nothing else. just so that we can have some fun. So anything else, my dear, that you'd like to add?
No, that's about it. Feel free to throw out your questions and ideas, and come by the website and come by the Facebook page, the Complete Herbal Guide, Natural Healing, and let us know, your ideas and thoughts, and, check us out, and we're here to help. So, I look forward to hearing everybody's thoughts and ideas and so forth.
Yeah, and I hope everybody has a wonderful day, and put your mask on and be safe with everybody, and have a good day. Huh? Hey, and thanks for listening to this episode all the way to the end. Hey, pretty cool. Hey, don't forget to follow us so you can receive regular updates and new posts. And remember, take care of each other, because each other's all we've got. See you next time on My Independence Report.